should be in the clear, I think. There we go. Nice. Okay, cool. Let me make a tweet. Really fast. Sweet. Easy. Promotion is easy. All right. So I'm pretty excited about this week. This week, I've been just working on new stuff. Been working on some new songs, digging up old songs, trying to turn them into new songs, and playing Electric Forest tomorrow with Andrew, with a lot of people. But I'm just excited because I haven't seen Andrew in a while, and I haven't played a show in a while. I haven't played a show, like my last 3 have been postponed or canceled because of either flight costs being crazy for Albania. That was just, I was like, nah, I can't do that right now. And then weather for Denver and Miami, which is a bummer, but I don't know. I feel like I got to go to Gainesville and work on my live show, and that's been really rewarding, just emotionally, to go through that process. And I think between that and seeing the dates coming together for the live tour and all this other stuff, it's cool. Like, I feel like it's a slow process, but it's coming together the way it needs to. And I'm working on new stuff. But besides that, I'm excited. I have a good time spot tomorrow. And I feel like, I wish I could stay longer so I could see more of my friends play. That's the only thing I'm bummed about, because I'm only staying for a day. But I'm going to try and go early so I can explore some stuff. And definitely so I can catch Nala play. But yeah. With that being said, think okay, cool. All right, I'm gonna just dive into it. I'm gonna get into it. So when I made this song when I was live streaming on Twitch a lot, like twice a week, and doing a lot of songwriting and then playing some games, which I should be doing anyways, but I was doing it pretty consistently back then, during the pandemic. And excuse me, this is one of the songs that came around first. I want to say I started working on this. I was working on this, Wake and Return, and Contra at the same time, and I feel like they embody a lot of what the album is like. I feel like it's just a highlight of the album, those 3 songs. But yeah, this one came together really quickly. It's extremely simple. It's very stripped back, but I think that's what makes it work. I think that's what makes it work for me. And I want to say the hardest part really was getting the low end groove right. And it taught me a lot about how simple it needs to be for dance music. Cause bass was one of the first instruments I learned, and I was always trying to do something that felt interesting. But with this, you really have to just lock in like a really solid groove, and if you do that, you can hear it over and over again. Or like there are changes, but they could be in the patch itself and less with the pattern. The pattern doesn't have to be that complex. So with that being said, I'll just start with the drums, because I'll just go down. And this is the mix down project, so but we'll see. It's looking like I have MIDI too, so. Well, it says final. I use the final. Could be a lie. So the kick is just a single sample, which is pretty interesting, but it looks like this is when I was watching a lot of tutorials at the time, but it's really common to try and add a bit of a high-end either shaker or percussion hit to your drum just to give it some air. And I didn't even, it's really low on mine, and I have it on every other hit. Probably could have gotten away with a little bit more. And then I have another channel just for the side chain. All this MIDI is doing is just side chaining for the song. And then next up, I have a whole hat group. There's a lot of kids. All right. And I usually just try to keep them at different textures for the most part. That's my main concern when I'm picking out sounds, is like textures, pitch, and making sure they're not hitting at the same time if I can avoid it. Other times it's like it's kind of necessary for groove, but they have different like attacks. They have a different feel to them. This one feels a lot more open. And another thing, no, it's just played in because I use a sampler, so that's why like the samples feel a bit messy, but like in a good way. I was gonna say something else you can do is use LFO to play with the decay and release, which I did on. I'm trying to remember what song I did that on, but okay, lost. It's a gone sample, but it's something from Ben's pack. That's disgusting, but something organic. The live hat sample. And then for all of these, there's not really much processing. I have it on the group with a side chain and then taking off some of the high end, which is something I've been doing a lot lately, where if it's not the vocal or a lead sound, sometimes I'll even do it to the lead synths, but like for some of the top end, I've been cutting off around like 12 to 15. 15, it's not as noticeable, but I feel like if you cut off some of the high end, it also leaves room for something that you want to be at the forefront, because I don't want to sound like I know what I'm talking about, but like when you have I feel like your brain can pick up on things with like higher frequencies or higher transients in them, and that like feels louder even if it isn't, and I feel like that applies to EQ. So if I want something to feel like further away, sometimes I'll like cut off the top end, and this is especially true with like guitars or keys that are playing at the same time and they're kind of competing for space. I'll just like duck out some of the top end for one of the instruments that I want to take the back seat. So that's what I did to this group, and it's mainly because the actual top loops do a lot of work and it starts to get a little too busy. So moving on to my claps. my claps. My voice broke there. I remember these snares being inspired by a Kasi tune. I mean, the song is inspired by a Kasi tune in general, but the snare especially, like trying to use acoustic drums. And all these like claps and snaps were like, I have them with different reverb sends. For like, I'll try to do something like that just so it gives. I mean, space is always cool in a drum kit, but where it feels like it's the decay actually adds to the groove of the song. Which I could probably accentuate with the tremolo, but in context. Then the actual clap. There's 3 different layers there. One's a little more sloppy. One with a tighter attack. It's a lot shorter. Again, like when I'm picking samples, I try to do sounds that are pretty different in texture, and I'll even like sometimes reduce the attack on some. I feel like it's the same process that you would do when you synthesize your own drums, but I just use samples. And I have one that sounds more like a rim, which I do pretty often to give the snare some body, or the claps, I guess. I don't typically layer a clap and actual snare for no particular reason. I just don't. But yeah, easy. And then getting into the top end. Let's see here. Sorry, brain fart. Okay, so for the tops, same thing kind of applied, but not as aggressive, cutting off the top end. I feel like around 14 or 15, your ears can't really tell anyways, so everything's fine and peachy. But I'll just make my way down. The ride I typically use more as a transition effect than a sound that I want to consistently use in a kit. Unless I have like an actual drummer playing it, I don't really like the sound of rides for the most part. But it's even got some like shimmer on it. Again, it's more of an effect. A tambourine that, again, this was inspired by a Kasi tune. Here, I just want one. With shakers, what I like to do is I'll get a loop from Splice or wherever. I really don't overthink where I'm getting my shakers from if I don't actually record it. But the point still stands is I'll try to find one as close to the rhythm or feel that I'm actually going for, but just to switch it up, because sometimes it can be a little bit too obvious. I'll just take a clip out so I can demonstrate what I'm talking about. I'll even here. So right now it's that, which is pretty obvious, but just for the sake of switching things up or trying to imagine the loop in a different sense, and this works with pretty much everything. Oh, I'm gonna have to charge this pretty soon. I'm gonna have to charge the phone. Down here. I'll move this marker over here so it's and the pacing might feel like better depending on where you place it. So I'll do that pretty often, and that's usually what I print that. So I have another one from Ben's pack. And they're just panned pretty wide, not that wide. I've been a bit hesitant to just like hard pan things lately, especially when I'm doing things that I want to play in a club. I feel like it's a bit dangerous to just have things spread out super wide. After that, I have another loop that I like to do this a lot, where when I get a clip, I'll draw in the volume automation that I'm actually going for, and it helps get rid of any like weird clicks or pops, or if it's a really complex loop, and I just don't like one of the hits, but I really like what the loop is doing to the overall feel of the song, then I'll just draw in the volume automation, that's pretty much what this is. Because otherwise, which would have been fine. I don't think that would have been an issue. But it does help. Give me 1 second. Yeah, it really doesn't do all that much to shift things around. But aside from that, then I have some chimes. These are cute. These are really cute. And it's just for transition. I think I probably would have added delay to it to make it just like keep going. I have 2 chimes. That's cute. And then I feel like the widest I pan something is like maybe 40. That's pushing it. One sidechain really hard. I wonder why I didn't do both. A cymbal sweep, boring, who cares? It's normal. I mean, it is kind of cute. Sorry. Okay, and then I have another cymbal crash that I just use for transitions. I just use them to sweep. That one helps a lot. And then after that, I got... Is this an 808 cymbal? I don't trust that. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, I guess so. In the way it's pretty normal to have like a ride to help push a house beat. It's pretty common. So that's what this is. Easy, easy, easy. Very easy. Okay, and then... All right, I feel like I'll do the effects last because it's not that deep. Oops, I'm leaving that open for a reason. Then I'm glad you enjoy it. Thank you. All right, the bass is super, super, super simple. I just have a sub from Operator. I'm glad I pulled up this project file. This might not be the final mix. I don't remember, but it's definitely what I used before I bounced it out. So for my bass patch, I kind of have to make a decision between whether I'm going to use like my kick just pitched down a little bit, and then I'll do like a riff from that as my sub, or actually like make a sub bass line with Operator, or use toms, or like play a live bass. I don't know. It's really tricky for me to pick, but it usually just depends on like feel. And in this case, operator just seemed to work. And operator's easy. It's just a sine wave and a lot of saturation. I probably would have put more erosion. That like fuzz sound. If you have headphones, you can hear that better. But not that much EQ. I tend to take stuff out around 200 to 400 hertz. Sometimes it's just really annoying on most instruments. I don't know. I wouldn't take that as a rule of thumb, but that's just how I feel. And then sidechain to the kick. But again, the notes are super simple. Very, very simple in context. I did try to do something. I like to play bass on like off beats to help build tension in some sections, and I did that for the break. I want to say this is Monarch, this recording. That's just saturated and then a boost from Pro Q with the top end cut out. I could have gotten away with keeping it, but it was just to give it some more, so it could be more present in the mix. And then I have these toms. Again, it's just to give it some, it's just body. To have like a groove that's felt, not necessarily heard. Next up, I'll show you the pads, which is pretty simple. This, I want to say this is actually from Submerge. So when I made Submerge, there was a section at the end where it like builds and speeds up to go into this song, and I basically use the noise effect and pads from that transition and the chords from Submerge I use as a transition noise for the break in this song, and I love it. It's really pretty. And then the drum bus on it is just to add saturation and some low end to it, which I do pretty often. Cut off some of the top end to give some room, and then sidechained it to the bass. But I love this sound a lot. So nice. Okay. Then next I have... This is a stock Ableton soundtrack LoRa pad. With a lot of EQ. A pretty common compressor trick I do where I put the attack and release really like all the way down, and then I just use a threshold to kind of tuck it into the song. And it harmonizes with the other pad. Same with this one. That's usually what I try to do with my pad sounds, where I try to make them harmonize with each other to imply a chord. That's ugly. And then last one, where are you at? Towards the end. Why? Oh yeah, this one. This is just this is a wavetable preset. Just for texture. It's pretty. I just like where it goes as a like I said, it's for an implied chord. From what I remember, a lot of this actual music stuff, just like a lot of this album, it's samples from this Marabou State pack that they put out a long time ago. For example, there's just like auto filter automation going on, a lot of side chain. But I'll use a sampler and play out the rhythm that I'm feeling. And this one's it's really straightforward. Very, very straightforward. The sidechain helps a lot with the articulation as well. Because without it, like, yeah, the groove is there. But with the sidechain to the kick, it kind of, it's used as a, like, it gives it more rhythmic cooperation. I don't know how to describe it. It just sounds smoother. It sounds tighter. Something that's, I don't know. Okay, I guess, okay, it's automated. That's why I was like, why would I put the delay after? I normally wouldn't put the delay after the side chain, but it's for the breaks, I'm assuming. Oh, I only do it there. I would have done it right here too. I would have put it in the breaks, but whatever. And then I have this ARP that's playing like a, I wouldn't quite call this a polyrhythm. It's just like it's like a counter melody situation. And it's tucked back really hard. There's a lot of compression. Like inside, this is a side chain. Then like I have this EQ just taking out the only frequency that I want. Without it, it sounds honky without it. And then this is another ARP. I want to say this one is actually from it's Native Instruments, Analog Dreams. It's a pluck from there, and again, a lot of heavy sidechain to help. But the sound itself was pretty good. It's really all I needed. And this is just the printed delay from like one of the earlier sessions. And this ARP is, I want to say something like operator. And just using a sine wave, if I remember correctly. I probably if not, it's a sample, but it's pretty much all it is. I could do it with operator, and just do really, really, really short decay, sustain, all that, and then some delay, and it's just printed in like that. I have a lot of plucks going on. This is from Marabou State. For sure, with a delay that I printed on. And again, I like to use sampler a lot. If like, it's just from listening to way too much Bonobo or like trying to copy him a lot, where like if you just throw any sort of sound into a sampler and pitch it any sort of way, play it like you would a drum, or try to think of it in a different rhythmical way, that could be your new melody. And it's cool. And I like how it kind of talks back to the other sounds. And this last one I want to say is also Marabou State. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I use this in Promise to Keep as well, but it's just pitched way up. Sidechain really is key in this song. That and I tried to make sure nothing's playing super hard at the same time or playing in the same frequencies. There's not much going on. And then these vocals, one is a sample and the others are stacks of my voice. This is the original sample. If I can, it's rough. So I have doubles of my own voice. With some auto-tune. I mean, you can hear the delay, but I cut off a lot of the low end. I have this auto filter going into the break so it can kind of go with the song. And also, like, during the build-ups, I wanted it to kind of like scale away. Like, with this song as my build-up, I just took everything away so that when the drop hit, it was really loud. I didn't have to, it wasn't competing with anything. And you can do that with volume, you can do that with frequency. It's cool. There's a chorus effect on there honestly, for what reason? When there's so many vocals already, I don't know. A lot of delay, a heavy sidechain, a bit of EQ, that's a lot. But it's probably for all the boxiness that I felt with my voice. Let's see what's going on here. Yeah. Don't know where that's from, but without the echo, it's nothing. And I use that as a transition for the song. See, without the EQ. I could have gone with it. And that just goes for days. It's heavy feedback. High past it because I don't need all that low end for any reason. Especially going into the drop. Then basically just the same thing that I do with my cymbals. I'll use effect sweeps or white noise to be the transition. It's here. That's from Submerge, from the transition coming in from that. Birds, probably someone's fireplace, and then some exhaust hit from somebody's sample pack. Yeah. More white noise sweeps, which I sometimes do in Operator. I also have this Mad Zach simpler thing that it's not a simpler, actually. It's I want to say it's analog. Let's see what it is. It's Serum. Okay, never mind. But it's just it's basically just an instrument rack that does lasers. I hope my dog doesn't start barking. All right. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the song. It's really, really straightforward. It's simple. But it's cool because I'm pretty sure I made most of it on stream. And I like how it turned out. So I feel like this is the one that most people actually point out, besides maybe Afterlife and Submerge. But yeah, I feel like it turned out to be a lot of people's favorite, which is interesting because you can never really tell what is going to be people's favorites. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm gonna go pack for Electric Forest tomorrow. I play at 9 o'clock at night on the observatory stage, and that's that on that. And you guys have a good day, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow in person.